Dear student, we will continue with the plant kingdom and we'll be starting with Bryophyta. Bryophytes are called amphibian of plant kingdom. It is because they live in soil and they require water for the fertilization. Now, water is required for the male gamete to swim and reaches the female gamete. So, water is essential for the fertilization. So they require water and land both, hence they are known as amphibian of plant kingdom. They grow in dense patches or cushions or in the form of green carpet in moist, shady and cool places during the rainy season. Usually in India you will see bryophytes in hilly areas like Himachal. Plant body is called thallus. They reproduce by spore formation. Now there are few terms which you need to understand and they are new for you. Phylloid usually is the term which we use for leaves. Sporophyte is a diploid phase, and sporophyte phase means it produces the spores. Spores again are produced by meiosis. Gametophyte is a haploid phase and it produces male and female gametes through meiosis. Now Enthridium are the male sex organ of algae, mosses, fern and fungi and other non-flowering plants. The male gamete it produces is called antherozoid or sperm. Archegonium are the female sex organ of the algae, and they produces female gamete called egg or ovum. Now life cycle of Funaria is actually genus which consists of 210 species of moss. The life cycle of moss is haplodiploidic type. In life cycle, free living haploid gametophyte alternates with a semi-parasitic diploid sporophyte. Let's see how. So first you need to understand what are the phases of the life cycle. Now two phases are there, sporophyte and gametophyte. Sporophyte is diploid, gametophyte is haploid. Now gametophyte phase is called dominant phase. It is because bryophytes spend their life mostly in this phase. So this phase is dominant as compared to sporophyte, which is inconspicuous. Now if you look at the structure of a sporophyte, it has three different divided into three different parts: food, seta and capsule. So food actually are embedded in the apex of gametophytes. Over here first you look at the diagram. This is capsule which bears the spores, and spores are released from the capsule at suitable time. This is seta, slender structure is called seta, and this is food. Okay, so this particular phase is called this particular structure is called sporophyte. Over here you can say a part of gametophyte. Again, gametophyte is not fully present over here. Only you can see the leaves, and rhizoid to rhizoid it get attached to the soil, and this structure, okay, we say that sporophyte is actually, it is not independent, it is dependent on gametophyte, and is, you can say, it is parasite on gametophyte. Now seta is a long slender structure. Capsule produces spores and it gives rise to gametophyte. Okay, so spores once germinate, they start the germination and development, and they give rise to gametophyte. Let's see what is gametophyte phase. It has two sub stages. One is proteinema, second one is leafy stage. In proteinema, now once the germination of spores start, it will develop a filamentous structure. So the filamentous structure formed by the germination of spore is called proteinema. Leafy stage, when the lateral bud develops from proteinema, it is called leafy stage, and it undergoes two different cycles: asexual cycle and sexual you can say phase. Asexual phase may be by budding, fragmentation, okay, and it produces gametophyte. Whereas in sexual phase, it is haplodiploidic, that is, it will undergo haploid and diploid phases. So it takes place under the favorable condition and produces entheridia and archegonia. Then later on zygote is produced, and from zygote sporophyte is formed. So in the asexual reproduction, it is gametophyte produces again a gametophyte. So this is a mean of asexual reproduction, whereas during the sexual reproduction, the gametophyte phase follow the sporophyte phase, and again the sporophyte phase follows the gametophyte. So this is haplodiploidic cycle. We'll see how this cycle is taking place in bryophytes. So let's see. This is the structure of sporophyte, which is attached to gametophyte. You can see rhizoid, axis, leaf, seta, capsule, spore. Now in the capsule, the spores are formed from the spore mother cell by the meiosis. Once these spores are formed, then they are released. So whatever spores are released, they are haploid. Then these spores get germinated. Now where the germination of spores start, we call this phase as starting or the beginning of gametophyte stage. Okay. Now from the germination, this filamentous structure is formed, which is called proteinema. Then later on, from the proteinema, the rhizoid root-like structure they develop. Okay, and then they give rise to the leafy structure. Then they bear the male and female sex organ. So the male sex organ entheridia is club shaped. The female sex organ archegonia is flask shaped. They are borne on different branches, and this phase is called gametophore or adult gametophyte stage. This is free living. This is not dependent on sporophyte, and this is dominant, you can say, stage of life cycle of moss or funaria. Now male gamete, it is released from entheridia, and the archegonia produces female gamete. When the water is available, the male gamete swims, it has got flagella, and reaches the female, you can say, gamete in the archegonia, where the fertilization occurs. After fertilization, zygote formation occurs. Now from here, that is from the germination of spore till fertilization, this is called gametophyte phase. Now once the zygote is formed, this is the beginning of sporophyte stage. Then later on, so many developmental stages are there, and then it will give rise to mature sporophyte. So this is how the cycle continue. And now proteinema is a filamentous thread-like chain of cells that form the earliest stage of a bryophyte life cycle. It represents juvenile gametophyte. Juvenile means the immature one. Okay, it is not the adult one. Let's discuss now the economic importance of moss. Sphagnum species are used as packing material after being dried. Now sphagnum species, sphagnum is a kind of moss, you can say, and if you dry it, it could be used as packaging material for glasswares and fragile goods. Then sphagnum is 18 times time hygroscopic than its weight, means it can absorb lot of water, just like a sponge, you can say, more than the capacity of sponge. So used in nursery to produce the beds, and it is also used to maintain the soil acidity. Okay. Now another is the dried peat moss. Peat moss is again sphagnum. Now what is peat? Peat is a dark color substance formed by the gradual compression and carbonization of organic matter in bogs. Bogs are the wetlands. Sphagnum is an aquatic moss. While growing in water, it secretes certain acids in water body. The acid make condition unfavorable for the growth of decomposing organism. So what happened? the decaying process slow down gradually, and the slow decaying matter over a period of time get accumulated and forms the peat. You must have heard of the types of coal, and peat is one of that form. And actually they are not type, they are form of coals. So this is how the peat is formed from the moss. Sphagnum is called the peat moss or bog moss. Peat is also used in the production of various fuels like ethyl alcohol, okay, and it is also used in the preparation of ammonium sulfate, tar, ammonia, paraffin, dye, tannin, etc. Mercantia polymorphia has medicinal value. The extract from certain species of sphagnum are used as antiseptic in surgical dressing during World War II. So they were already used, and today also we are using them. There is ecological importance of moss also. They can survive on bare rocks. They can initiate soil formation in any barren terrain of land, just like we have seen in case of lichen, which are pioneers. Okay, so over here the mosses are also along with the lichen, they are pioneers in the xerophytic or succession of any ecosystem. They can maintain their soil moisture and also help in recycling of nutrient in the forest vegetation. So this is all about bryophytes. Next video we will be discussing pteridophytes. Thank you.